What's going on YouTube? So the Hyundai Elantra has been a hit for the Hyundai brand over the last several years, even spawning new variants such as the sporty inline and insane full-in model. Hyundai has made some minor changes for the 2023 model year. So let's go ahead and see if this is the sporty, well-equipped compact sedan for you. So if you've seen this generation of the Elantra rolling around on the street, you know the name of the game when it comes to this design is angles. There's a lot of angles, a lot of sharp styling on board that really catches the eye. So that part of the design is not going to change for 2023, so you're going to continue to find this very large grille up here in the front. It's got little triangles kind of built into the design itself. All of the trim levels will have this shape. However, the lower models will have a matte black finish, whereas this one has a gloss black finish as a more upscale version. And then the inline does have a few more aggressive elements thrown into it. The other important difference, though, about the limited trim level comes at the headlights. So all the models are going to come with the LED daytime running light up there. However, everything except for the limited will come with halogen headlights. On this fully loaded limited model, we have the full projector LED headlights, which look quite nice. None of the models will come with fog lamps. Next up, let's go ahead and talk about our wheels. So with the Elantra, you actually have the option of 15, 16, 17, or 18-inch alloys, depending on which trim level you choose. What we have on today's limited trim level is a 17-inch contrast alloy. I think this looks very nice. I love the design with the contrast elements throughout. If you want the 18s, that will require going to the inline model. Then as I come up here to the mirrors, they are going to be finished in black, even if you have a different exterior color, which is a nice touch. You also have standard blind spot monitoring, which I'm happy to see. And if you want heating, you go for 2 of the top trim levels.
Well guys, there's a lot going on here at the side of the Hyundai Elantra. As you probably have seen, this vehicle has been out for a little while at this point. It's a very angular design. So here at the front, you can see that you have 3 different body lines going out, and they just kind of go into the back and sweep and give you a very, very unique and angular look. Now, as far as the overall length is concerned, you're looking at 184.1 inches. As far as some features that you're going to get, the Limited is going to throw in this nice chrome trim on the bottom of the window surrounds. Now, if we walk around to the rear design of the Elantra, not anything is going to change for 2023 in terms of the overall design. It's going to have a very angular look, just like what you would expect from the side. So you have kind of almost a Sportback-like design because they have blacked this piece out. It's hard to tell on this model because this is black, of course, but this is going to be black regardless of what exterior paint color you choose, which gives it a nice Sportback look to it. You almost have a built-in spoiler as well, and a lot of different angles go into this. Your Hyundai badge is kind of be slanted right through here. And then let's look at your taillights. These taillights are going to be full-length LED accented taillights. So a few different elements. Let's talk about the overall look at these. So we have this part that's LED that goes all the way across the back. The actual brake light itself is going to be incandescent, as well as the turn signal and reverse light for this limited trim level. I do believe you can get an LED brake light on the Elantra model, so you have to comment down in this comment section down below if you know what trim level that comes on, because it's not on this limited. Then if we drop down to the lower area, we do have a unique diffuser area. As you can see, we have kind of what mimics like a faux exhaust pipe right here, but none of the models will have actual exposed exhaust. Now let's talk about your safety systems and warranty information for the 2023 Hyundai Elantra. So we'll start with your safety systems. Hyundai is throwing in 3 out of 4 of them as standard equipment on every single Elantra. So it's going to be forward emergency braking with pedestrian detection, lane keeping assist, as well as auto high beam headlamps. That said, you do have to go for at least the limited trim level, so that top-end model, to get adaptive cruise control with Hyundai's highway drive assist function. I do believe you can also option that onto the SEL convenience trim level as well. Now, as far as your warranty information is concerned, you have Hyundai's best in the business warranty, 5-year 60,000 mile basic warranty, 10-year 100,000 mile powertrain warranty, plus they're also throwing in 3 years of complimentary maintenance. But guys, that's going to wrap up the exterior design of this 2023 Elantra on the outside. Now let's check out the luxurious, surprisingly luxurious interior before we take it out on a test drive.
So walking up to the Elantra, of course here with the limited trim level as well as the SEL and above, we'll get you the smart entry system with the brand's typical key fob as well as remote start. The Limited does also throw in Hyundai's digital key system, which allows you to get inside the vehicle with the key card or your cell phone. Just grab behind the handle to unlock the door. And take a look in there at the cabin. Of course, the design itself is not really going to change this year, but it's very upscale here on the limited trim level. But let's go ahead and get inside. Now, before I have a heat stroke inside of this cabin, let's go ahead and talk about our interior color and material choices. Now, like I was saying, the limited trim level does take things upscale. So your SE and your SEL is going to come standard with cloth seating. The inline also has cloth seating. So this right here is actually the only trim level that comes standard with leather. As you can see, we do have the gray option. There is also a black option as well, but I really like this design. I mean, this is a very nice looking seat for this category of vehicle. We've got this nice stitching detail, perforation throughout, color contrast piping. We've got some cloth inserts. Just really cool looking. And then the other thing I want to point out is when you choose the gray interior here on the limited trim level, you get a very unique design characteristic. So you'll notice we have the gray that kind of goes up through there, around on the dash, and it actually goes over here on the door trim. So if you have if you're very observant, you'll notice that this is actually a different color than all the other door trims. Because of having this wraparound effect, Hyundai gives you this special gray door trim right through there. So it's a really cool effect I've never seen on any other vehicle. Now in terms of the other materials on board, we have very nice stuff. Nice padded armrest here. I like the cloth insert. It looks very chic and eco-friendly. We do have the stitching detail through there. It's going to be hard touch along the top. As we go to the upper dash, all this is going to be finished in a soft touch plastic. And then, of course, as you'd expect for a vehicle in this category, it is going to be hard touch along the lower areas, and you do have that big signature handlebar. Now to start it up, put your foot on the brake and press the button. So taking a look here at our gauges, as you can see, we do have the digital gauge cluster, and this is actually one of our upgrades for 2023. That's the fact that inline as well as the SEL with convenience package now have this gauge cluster as standard equipment. It is 10.25 inches, and when you change things like the drive mode, it does change design, which is a cool touch. One of the differences basically is that the premium package is no longer offered on SEL, so a lot of those features will now be added to the convenience package instead. Of course, off to the side there, you've got that design element. This doesn't do anything, in case you're wondering. It's just purely design. And as we come to the steering wheel, we do have a nice leather wrap steering wheel. It is going to be standard on the limited trim level, and I do like the design of it as well. The wheel itself is going to be manual tilt and telescoping, and then of course, heating is not available, but that's not expected for this category of vehicle. Well, let's go ahead and turn over here to our interior storage next. So starting out underneath our center console here, we do have a pretty nicely sized bin. It does have a felt lining down there at the bottom, but nothing is officially good until it passes the coupon test. So let's see. It's going to be close. Can we shut the lid? We did it, just barely, so it barely passes our coupon test. We also have our two deep cup holders right there. Up in the front, you have a very large pad. This is a ventilated wireless phone charging pad as well on inline and limited trim levels. Now, unlike its big brother, the Hyundai Sonata, this does come with a traditional T shifter. So you're just going to pull back for drive, bump over here to the left if you want to shift through some simulated gear changes manually. Head up to the R, of course, for reverse, and when you do, you will be greeted with a standard backup camera with active trajectory. Limited is also the only trim level which will come with rear parking sensors. And then both your limited trim level and the SEL with convenience package will come with the electronic parking brake and brake hold function instead of the traditional handbrake. Now moving on up to our climate controls. Actually, all but the base model will come standard with a dual zone automatic climate control setup. Nice and easy to use with your 2 zones. You do have physical controls for the other functions. And then down below that, you will also find 3-stage heated seats. That is in the convenience package on SEL, standard on inline, and limited trim levels. Then up above that, we have a nice row of physical audio controls. So on board with this fully loaded model is the 8-speaker Bose premium sound system. So let's go ahead and give it a sample. Yeah, so overall sound quality is very good, as you'd expect for having a branded Bose sound system on board. Alrighty, and that brings us to the infotainment system. So just like with the gauge clusters, we have, again, a 10.25-inch display for the main infotainment system. This has also been upgraded the same way as the gauges, meaning it is standard on more trim levels this year, standard on the limited, and added to the SEL with convenience package in addition to this limited trim level. So I always like to mention the key differences between the 2 screens. If you choose a lower trim level, it's going to be 8 inches. That screen will come with wireless Android Auto and wireless Apple CarPlay. If you get the bigger screen, it's going to come with wired Android Auto and wireless Apple CarPlay, but in exchange, they will give you a built-in navigation system. So those are the key things to remember if you're picking which system is the best match for you. Now as we move on up, you do have an auto dimming mirror, which looks quite nice. It is standard on the limited trim level. We have incandescent lighting. And up at the top, we do have a standard moonroof here with the limited trim level.
Alright guys, come on back here and join me in the 2023 Hyundai Elantra's rear seat. Now, of course, in this segment, you're going to be looking to have a lot of space, maybe some amenities as well, and the Elantra does deliver on both of those things, especially if you get the higher-end trim levels. Let's go ahead and talk about the space first, though, because that's an exceptional element for this Elantra. We're looking at 38 inches of rear legroom, 37.3 inches of headroom, which does actually place this as one of the largest offerings in the entire segment. That's going to be above the Toyota Corolla, the Honda Civic. Lots of spaces, actually on paper larger than the Hyundai Sonata, which is kind of an interesting element for you. I also want to mention, look at these seats, guys. I don't know if Drew mentioned this on the inside the vehicle, but on the back they have this really cool texture on them, and it goes up into the headrest. I've never seen that before, and that's a really neat touch to have within this segment of vehicle. It makes it feel a lot more premium. Now, as far as the features are concerned, no vents on any Elantra. Also, there are going to be no USB ports or outlets or anything like that to keep anything charged up. We do have a center armrest with cup holders inside. That's going to be included on the higher-end Elantra models. No heated rear seats are offered anymore on the Elantra, unlike the previous generations that used to offer that. And looking at your door trim, we have a hard touch upper part, some more of that really unique fabric texture here on the door trim. The armrest is also going to be hard touch as well, but we do have a bottle holder down in the bottom. Now walking up to the Elantra's cargo area, in order to open it, you just look at the button right here, and that will pop it open. And as you can see, they have dampened it pretty nicely. It won't open all the way, but it opens about halfway. I do also want to point out, if you have smart entry on the Elantra, you will also have the hands-free function for the tailgate area, so you can just walk up to it and it'll automatically pop up. Now, as far as the space is concerned, back here we're looking at 14.2 cubic feet of cargo capacity, which is a good amount for the segment. That's going to be above the Toyota Corolla, less than the Honda Civic though, but one of the larger ones in the entire segment, so certainly you're going to be able to fit whatever you need back here. The seats do fold 60-40 split. We also have this nice little cargo net here. And then if we lift up the floor, you do have a spare tire up underneath it there. I know it's probably kind of hard to see, but you do have a spare tire if you're curious about that. No handle to fold it, or to shut the trunk though. Your passenger seat is going to be manually adjusting even on this fully loaded limited Elantra. Then if we open up the glove box, watch out because it is not dampened, so do keep your knees out of the way. But it's certainly big enough to fit about 9 million owner's manuals, as you can see there. And our coupons, of course. So today it's going to be McDonald's, it looks like. Buy one, get one free Egg McMuffin. So those definitely will fit in there, no problems whatsoever. And then up top we have a sun visor. We also have a mirror as well as separated lighting. Do keep in mind the lighting is only on the higher end models, and you can also detach it and extend it out.
So there we are, accelerating up to 60 miles per hour in the 2023 Hyundai Elantra. To be fair, we're going up a pretty steep hill, but acceleration feels perfectly adequate for this category of vehicle. We are in the standard engine. You've got a lot of different powertrain choices when it comes to the Elantra. So this is the 2-liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder. It has 147 horsepower, 132 pound-feet of torque. You continue to have the availability of getting the inline model with the 1.6 turbocharged 4-cylinder. That's going to give you 201 horsepower instead. And then, of course, you've got hybrid options. You have the full-on crazy in model.
Yep.
So, like I said, you've got a ton of different choices depending on which one you want. Hopefully, we'll review the in and the hybrid model separately coming up.
Yes.
Let's also talk about the transmission. So you might not notice right off the bat, but this does have a continuously variable transmission, or IVT as Hyundai likes to call it. It does have shift simulation, as you were seeing on board. You don't really have to be going full throttle to get a little bit of a shift simulation. And overall, it feels nice and responsive. When you put your foot down, you don't have to wait too long to get a nice response.
Yeah. And one of the 2023 changes is that for the inline model, they are deleting the manual transmission option for that this year, so that's unfortunate if you were looking to get a manual pure driving experience out of the inline Elantra. I do believe they'll still offer it on the full-blown fast in model, so you can still get it then. But that's not going to be offered, so that's going to mean that's DCT only for that inline model. All of the Elantra lineup is also going to be front-wheel drive only. There is no all-wheel drive option. All right, and while we're just cruising along here, I want to talk about your ride quality for the Elantra. It's always been a good option in the segment. I think it continues to be one of the top offerings in terms of ride quality. It soaks up the bumps well as you would expect for anything in this segment. It just feels overall very solid and like a cohesive package, which some in the segment do not. So that's certainly worth noting for this Elantra, that you're going to have that nice experience. Also, these seats are really comfortable as well.
Yeah, for sure.
And we are in Kentucky after all, so it's time for us to talk about our Airball and Slam Dunk for this 2023 Elantra. Drew will kick us off with the Slam Dunk.
Oh yeah, for me, the Slam Dunk is the interior. We had never been in the Limited with the gray interior option. And when I first walked up into... goodness gracious. When I opened the door, first of all, I was really impressed by the way it looks. The visual two-tone looks very premium and upscale. The seats themselves are very nice, like I mentioned earlier. And then I also just really like the technology. So it feels really a class above in terms of the cabin.
Yeah. And as far as the Airball is concerned, I guess it's not really particular to this vehicle specifically, but we still are going to preach to the end of our times that LED headlights should probably be included on the vast majority of the models, whereas on this limited trim, this is the only one of the Elantra lineup, and I guess the Elantra N also gets it as well, but LED headlights are not offered on hardly any of these Elantras that you see rolling down the line, because the limited is the highest end one, so we think that's honestly a safety hazard to not have LED headlights at this point. So Now, as far as your fuel economy is concerned, we'll go ahead and discuss that. So for the SE and the SEL trim levels, you're going to be looking at 33, 43, 37 mpg, which is crazy good fuel economy out of a non-hybrid to get almost 40 mpg. That's the reason why they choose that CVT pairing with that 2-liter engine. Now, if you go for the Limited, it's going to be reduced down just a little bit. 30, 40, 34 is your combined rating for the Limited. Going 55 here, we're looking at 55.4 decibels. That's really good, actually. Yeah, surprisingly good. I think that's better than some of the luxury cars we recently tested out, and I think that's really a testament to how premium the overall experience feels in this Elantra Limited.
Yeah, there's even a Harley Davidson next to us.
And let's discuss the pricing for 2023. So you're going to be looking at $20,500 for the base SE model. SCL's $21,750, and this Limited is going to start at $26,350. This particular example does have a few accessories, plus the $1,095 destination or freight charge. Brings this one to $27,875, which is pretty much the top end of the regular Elantra lineup that you can get.
But overall, this 2023 Hyundai Elantra continues to impress. We've really liked this generation ever since it first came out because it really just has such a great combination of style, technology, more features and amenities than you'd expect for a very reasonable price tag, especially in 2022 dollars. This is a really, really good deal.
Well, guys, thanks so much for joining us on this in-depth review of the 2023 Hyundai Elantra Limited. If you enjoyed this video or found it helpful in your purchasing decisions, please pay us back by hitting that subscribe button down below. It truly helps us out and helps us to get access to newer and cooler cars for you all to see. So it's really kind of a circular thing there. Also follow us on TikTok and Instagram, and we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.